Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Today I am working on a different sort of project. I am making some little, I'm going to call them gift cards. They're going to go on the outside of some bags that are like goodie bags for a retreat thing that I'm going to be going to. Hopefully, if everything stays clear from all the COVID numbers and everything. So I thought I would just go ahead and work on these and go ahead and shoot the video for it. So I had all of these little girl ephemera pieces from Jen Hadfield's Chasing Adventure collection, and it had a lot of them in it. And I think I bought the ephemera pack twice because it had florals or something else in it as well. And I used all of the other things, and I only used like one or two girls. It's not really the type of thing that I typically put on my layouts. So I thought this was actually a really good place to use them because I'm going to a retreat and it's going to be a bunch of women. So, why not? So then I took out, I went through my 3x4 cards and I pulled out a bunch that I thought would work, and I paired them up with the little girls, and then I used some dies that I have to create these small doilies. Now all of the doilies are created with dies. There's two different styles there. The blue one that I'm working on there is one style, and then the yellow one behind the bicycle girl is a different style. And so I'm using those, and then I do have one hot pink one off to the left hand side there that you can see peeking out. That is from Doodlebug, and I've had it in my stash for ages, but it's the only one that was like the only one that worked with this set. So the pink is kind of a weird pink, but I definitely made it work with the girl's shirt that is on it. So the other banner pieces and the star pieces are also dies that I have. The stars are from Bo Bunny. They've been in my stash for quite some time as well. And then the little banner pieces, I've gotten those from several different places. I have some from Close to My Heart. I have some from Sizzix. And so I'm not really sure which company that particular die is from. So I can't tell you that. If it's something you're interested in, I can definitely research it and let you know. But otherwise, I don't really have that information for you. So I decided to pull out my distress inks. Most of these I'm using are just the regular distress inks. I'm not using the oxides, with the exception of the pink one in the upper right hand corner, and that's because it was out on my desk already. I didn't go searching through the pink oxide inks just for that one. I had out the regular distress inks, and so that's what I just stuck with. And in order to make these work really well, some of them I kind of pair up multiple colors, so you get a little bit of a gradient look to it. Mostly tone on tone. There's only one that I do that is 3 different colors, and I really like how that one actually came out. The one with the blue stars that I just finished working on, I left some of it white because I thought the white popped nicely as well. I may end up going back and adding some more blue to it, but I kind of let it sit there just to kind of marinate on it and decide what I'm going to end up using. Now, the reason I use those yellow stars with the girl on the multicolored or the 3-colored card there is her hair is yellow. And so I thought that was perfect. Her backpack is pink like the bottom color. Her shirt is teal like the middle color. And then I thought I will bring in the yellow of her hair. And I thought it looked really good because, yellow stars, you can't really go wrong with that. So this little girl that has the red and blue, I decided to use red ink. And I think I am using Festive Berry. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's Festive Berry. The lighter colored blue one, I used Blueprint ink. And then the darker one, I used Chip Sapphire, if that is of any interest to you. I do go in and add a second red color to this just to give it a little bit more depth and a little bit more variation in color. And I really like that. And I believe I'm using Fired Brick. I can't swear to it, but I'm pretty sure that's what color it is. And on my screen while I'm recording, it's really small, so I can't really read that. So if you're reading it and it's different, my apologies. I was wrong. And then I used the red doily to kind of see if I wanted red on this other card or if I'm going to use yellow. I don't end up going with a red. I end up going with yellow, but I don't end up using a doily. I end up using one of these banner pieces. And for a little bit, I thought I was going to stick with the red, but then because she does have red in her hat, but I go back and change it to be yellow because in the card there's quite a bit of yellow. There's like a yellow streak on there, and it just matches better. It looks better in my opinion, so I kind of go back and trade that out. But you're going to see that as I go. And I'm just wiping my mat after I change colors. Like if I go from a light color to a dark color, I don't need to change quite as much. But if I'm going from like red to yellow, I don't want it to be orange, so I definitely need to change that up. And so I'm not thinking about moving that red one. I'm just trying it for color to see if red is the color that I want behind her. And same with this one here. I'm just kind of playing with what colors I want behind each of those little girls to make them stand out the most. And so in this pink card case I've got down in the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to go with this Kitsch Flamingo, but I'm also going to add some regular Distress ink in Picked Raspberry over it, just to give it a little bit more depth and make it a little more bold in some of the areas. And I really like how that looks. The card itself is pink, but the little flower in her hat is that brighter fuchsia color. So I think that works really well on that particular card. And it finishes it off nicely. It gives it a little bit of visual interest as well. So I'm just going to keep pulling out different inks and working with them. This is the card that I end up doing 3 different colors, and I'm kind of marking where I want the colors to change because I want them to be tone on tone with that card. So the center will be pink, one section will be yellow, and one will be teal, depending on whether I have the colors on the right hand side or the left hand side will depend on whether it's at the top or the bottom. And I kind of play around with that as well. And of course I go a little bit over those marks that I made because I want them to blend. I don't want a harsh line between the colors. And so you go a little bit beyond that line that I made. And then when I put the yellow down, I go a little bit over the pink just to kind of blend those in. And in the end, I really love how it looks. It was very difficult to find a teal that was the same color. I ended up using some cracked pistachio at first, and then I go over it with some different colors because it's a little bit too green for matching up with that teal color on the card. And so I think I'm using Evergreen Bough there to kind of bring in a little bit of a darker color. And then I bring in some, I believe that's Tumbled Glass, just to kind of give it a little less of a green look. And the final results I really like. It comes out good. It matches very well. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. So sometimes you just have to mix your colors to make them match perfectly or as perfectly as you can. So I like how that's looking. This little girl in the yellow dress on the bottom left-hand side, she's got a green map in her hand and a red bow in her hair. So I decided to go with the green, and I'm either using pine needles or Evergreen Bough. I don't remember. I think it's the pine. I think I'm using the pine one. But the green matched up really well with that green map that she has in her hand. And, I don't want to do everything in pinks and teals because, there's a lot of people that like other colors. So it's nice to switch those up and add in some greens and reds and blues, even though, there's a lot of things in scrapbooking that are in the pink range or the turquoise range. And I know that because I cut a lot of my embellishments apart, and when I sort them into boxes, I have literally 3 boxes of pink and only 1 box of red. And so, and that's not including multicolored stuff. So I do know there's definitely a lot of pink. Okay, so, and there's nothing wrong with pink, don't get me wrong. I just know that some people prefer other colors, so it's good to mix it up. And so here I am using the yellow, and I think I am using squeezed lemonade, and then I added a little bit of mustard seed, if I remember correctly, just to make the edges a little more bold. And here's my color bins, and I thought these were the perfect things to kind of go through and pull out things that would match or that would work well with these things. And you can see on the right hand side, I've already pulled out a bunch of stuff, and then I just keep pulling out more and more to kind of pair up with these cards. Ideally, I would like something that is in a long label shape, kind of like that teal piece at the bottom there. Something that is like a circular or square element, and then something that's more organic, like the butterfly or leaves or something like that. So that's kind of the recipe that I'm going with. It's not really a recipe that's written down. It's just in my mind. That's what works well. I don't mind if their legs are covered up or anything like that. And I just thought that, you know, having the different shapes on there, it just makes it a little more interesting. If you have just one shape, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You can certainly do that very well. But I just think this is like a nice mix. And then, and plus you don't want everything to be all words. And a lot of times those label shapes have words already on them. And I thought it would be perfect to use the ones that I don't typically go for in my scrapbooking, like hello today or whatever. I don't do a lot of pocket page scrapbooking that is based on my daily events. Anything that I do pocket page is more for big trips and stuff. So I'm not really talking about the day we had in my scrapbooking. I'm talking about little stories or places we went. So it's not really just about, you know, here's what I did today, except for if we went to an event, of course. But anyway, so I'm trying to pull out things that I don't typically use in my regular scrapbooking stuff and mix those in. And I have a lot of things that are really old, so I think this works well also because you can use up little bits here and there. I really like this little tag that says pick of the patch, but I don't really want the little strawberry jar on there, so I'm going to hide that under the girl's legs, and I'm going to add another piece over the top of it. I'm going to add a little heart that I believe says smile on it, and I like the way that that all looks. I will end up adding a string to that tag. I don't leave it empty. I add a little tiny piece of twine to it, and so I like how that ends up looking as well. And I did pop that up onto some foam because the little girl is going to be popped up onto some foam as well. So I like how that's all coming together. And the foam tape I use, it's the same stuff I always use, Fun Foam from Walmart. I cut it into strips so that it's ready to go. I also have a lot of leftovers from making alphas for my titles on layouts. And in those cases, I do have to use adhesive on both sides because I've already used adhesive to attach whatever kind of pattern paper that I was using for the title. So in this case, I needed a longer piece for everything to rest on. And so I just pulled a piece of pink out of my scrap bin. And that pink argyle matches really well with the stars because I used those two different colors on the stars. So it brought in that darker color because of the picked raspberry. So I like how that's looking. This one was really fun because it was just a black and white card, so you could go with any color you wanted. And I picked those dark blues because in her outfit she does have a little bit of dark blue. And I know that's probably hard to read on screen, but it works well. I don't end up using the butterfly that is actually on the card now. I use the one that I am fussy cutting to bring in more of the turquoise colors because that's what's on our outfit and it matches that little partial label that I have on the card. The butterfly that is currently on the card does not get used, but it is actually the perfect color to go with that doily, which is the one that I used in Blueprint Sketch. So I will save that for another something, another card, another scrapbook layout or something else. So I'm kind of pouring through and seeing what else I want to use. And I end up going with a speech bubble that says so fancy. Speech bubbles are not something that I normally put on my layouts unless it is like geared towards speech bubbles, like I'm using that as my paper or I'm highlighting speech bubbles, but it's not something that I use just generally in a layout. So I thought this was a great place to use it. And I'm not really concerned with what the words are other than that I want them to be kind of like a greeting of some sort or something that could be geared towards the event, like, oh, it's so fancy, we're all out here today, or we're at this event, or that kind of thing. I don't want it to be, you know, something that is definitely not going to work, but I'm not really being super picky about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So they don't all need to say hello or hi or nice to meet you, because there's going to be a lot of people that I don't know at this event. So it doesn't have to be something like that, but it just has to be like a general, you know, something that you could use in general. So I thought that worked well. And I like the way that that one came out because the the little label comes from the opposite side of the girl. A lot of times they go under the girl or something like that. But so that one was just a little bit different. This one, I found this piece that says Weekend Vibes, and in this case I don't really care that Vibes is covered up. In fact, part of Weekend is going to be covered up by her legs as well, but that's okay. You can still read it. It actually says #Weekend Vibes, and it works well. The colors are perfect because it's got the pink and the navy blue, which is definitely in the little in the color scheme that I was going for in that, so I really like it. This is the only one that I did that is in a landscape format, and that's because the girl's on a bicycle. I have several other girls on bicycles, but I didn't want to just use the bicycle girls, so I end up just using this one with the yellow bike, and I like her. She looks cute, and I thought the yellow and the orange works well together, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop her up onto some foam tape as well. I really like the layers here, and then I pulled out this chipboard piece that says shimmer on it. I think it says shimmer. And there's not really like any reason that I would use that on a layout maybe, but I thought it worked well here just because, you know, I don't know, it's a cute little saying, and I just thought it would be fun. So, and then I pull in that puffy sticker from Pink Fresh Studio, which has all of the perfect colors. It's got the pink, it's got the orange, it's got the yellow, so it's just a puffy sticker with a heart, and I thought that worked really well. And then I was just tucking in some of the foam that was under her head so you don't see the foam from the back. And then I'm going to work on this multicolored girl, and I'm pulling in this piece that says here, I think it says Here Comes the Sun. I think that's what it says. Yeah, I'm trying to read it. My apologies. It says, oh baby. Yeah, oh baby, here comes the sun. So sorry about that. Anyway, you probably could read it faster than I could because like I said, my screen is really tiny. And so I made some little fishtail banner flags up at the top there, and I like how that's looking. Originally, I was just going to have the words kind of coming in from the top, but then I found that banner flag in the pink, and I thought I'd use that as well. And I think that she looks really cute. And this is actually a really good way to batch produce cards as well. So you could cut all of your background papers to card size versus this 3x4 that I'm using, and start layering up your papers in, and then come up with whatever you want on the top, and then leave your sentiment off until you're ready to send the card, because then you can add the appropriate sentiment for the occasion. So, and I have done this. I have some stamps that have like little girls on them. They're from the Greeting Farm, and those are stamps that I use. Like I'll sit and color with my Copic markers, or my daughter will color them just in her spare time, or at least she used to. She doesn't do that. She doesn't have spare time these days with a 2-year-old. But yeah, I just sit and color them in spare time, and just in front of the TV or whatever, and then I will just batch make a whole bunch of cards. And right at the beginning of COVID, a friend of ours was doing a card drive for a senior center, or actually it was a senior care facility, and so I was able to whip out like 45 cards in a weekend because I had all of those done, and then I just sat and layered up papers behind them, and you know, it worked out great. So just an idea if you are into card making as well. I don't show a lot of card making on my channel. I do have a few if you look back further in at the beginning of my channel, but I don't typically show a lot of card making. It's not something I do frequently, but when I do it, it's usually for a specific event and I need a card for it the next day because I work last minute sometimes, or it'll be something like that batch creating of cards, and that I'm going to actually give the whole batch away. So okay, so this card, I really like how this one comes out. I had this little flag in one of my color bins, and so I decided to replace the stick that she is holding while she's walking with this banner, or this flag. It's not really a banner, it's more of a flag. So I pull off the foam tape that I put behind that stick, and I just tuck the wood of this stick behind. Now I know that there's a little tiny bit of wood showing at the top of the stick, It doesn't really bother me. I considered cutting the stick completely off and making it look like she was holding it, but then the white outline around her body wouldn't be there. And so I just said, you know what, I'm just going to leave it as is and not mess with it because she was already glued down and I didn't want to have to try and mess with that with a bunch of liquid glue on the back of her. Okay, so on to this little girl that has the green, and I really like how she came out. It has a little green in the card on the number 4. So I really could have pulled in any colors, but I thought that green map that she's carrying was the perfect chance to use a green doily. So, and the doily dies that I have are very old. They're probably, I don't know, maybe 15 years old. And they are the kind that are like, it's a flat metal piece and it's got foam on one side. It's still a thin die, but it has a thin layer of foam on one side and you run it through your machine that way. So they're super old because I don't even know if that anybody makes them like that anymore. But yeah, this ends up looking really cute. So again, a little round sentiment, and then I'm going to just add this little leafy green piece, and I have a die for that as well. I believe those dies are either from Kaisercraft or they are from Sizzix. I'm pretty sure. And I could be totally wrong. They could be from Tonic Studios because those are the 3 companies that most of my dies are from. So, and here again is the doily from Doodlebug, which is a super bright pink. And so I found a black card that was polka dotted and had that pink color in it. It matches her shirt very closely. And then I played around with what I was going to put on it. I end up using that yellow piece and the little tiny pink one, but not the longer pink one. And I am going to use that little pink flamingo stick. I'm going to have her, she's going to get to carry that as well. And so I like how that looks. It's just going to tuck behind her. And it's just going to add a little bit of something fun on the card. I do trim the bottom of the stick off because it's much too long for what I need. And so I just trim that off and tuck it in. So, oh, maybe I don't use that little pink piece. Maybe I just use the yellow. Anyway, we're about to see. So I just use my jewelry snips. I don't do a lot of jewelry making. I have in the past because I've dabbled in quite a few things, but I keep those for cutting like the backs of brads off if you need to, or the backs of buttons, or in this case, like this little stick. You never know what you're going to need, but those are in my little travel kit, my caddy, my tool caddy, so that I have them on hand if I need them. And you'd be surprised how often they come in handy. So I really like that. And I thought that it was fun because all these girls are like out for an adventure, and this is kind of what that weekend is going to be like. It's going to be a little bit of an adventure. Now, we're not going to be out hiking and stuff. It is a scrapbooking retreat, but I just thought it would be fun. And then I am adding some mini Zots, which are, I think they're Zots like for bling, which are like glue dots in case you're not familiar with the brand. And I just tuck them behind that flamingo to hold the flamingo down. Now, this card had the sentiment already built into it. It says good times. And so I just left that there, and I just decided to pop up her instead of the sentiment and just go with it. Embrace that the card already has it written on there and it's still visible. I had kind of toyed with, well, what do I do with this one? Do I cut that piece out and put it onto a different card so I can make it dimensional? But then I was like, why would I do that? It already has the perfect color background. It's got everything that I need. I'm just going to pop her up instead of the sentiment. And in any case, I've been popping a lot of these little girls up, so it's not like it's a whole lot different. But yeah, make the card do the work for you if you can. So, and this was a great way to also use up some of my 3x4 cards because I don't use them very often. Like I said, I don't do a ton of pocket page scrapbooking. And usually if I do, I'm working with a specific paper or kit because it is usually for a particular trip that we've done. It's usually like lots of photos of nature or buildings or places we went and saw. It's not necessarily, you know, it's basically a lot more detail of the trip rather than the overview of our lives. I guess is the best way to describe that. Okay, so this one, I ended up using this little piece that says the best on it, and that was cut out from one of the Paige Evans papers, I think from Horizon. I could be wrong on that. It could be the collection right before Horizon. But it had all kinds of little sayings in different colors, and this particular piece was in my blue bin, and I decided to go ahead and use that. And I thought that came out really cute. And then this girl, I decided to center her more. Most of them are, well, all of them are off to one side or the other, but this card doesn't have anything that I need visible from either side. There's like no sayings or anything on it. And this girl's looking straight on. She's not looking to the side or anything. So I thought I would just go ahead and put her more centered and kind of switch it up a little bit. So this video has been a lot longer than my other videos because it's a much larger project than just making a scrapbook page. There's a lot more detail going on than what would be on a 12 by 12. So I hope that you have enjoyed it. It's just a little something different on my channel. I figured I was making these. I might as well film it and see what you guys think and if you enjoy it. So hopefully you did. That little round piece there says best on it, and it does. I don't leave any other sentiment on there. I just said it just says best, and you can do with that what you will. And then there's like a little faux sticker button, and I do add the twine into that, and I pop that up, and that pretty much completes that button as well, or that card as well. So if you have questions or comments about this video, you can go ahead and leave those down below, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. If you need to know any products that I use or any of the techniques I used, I am happy to answer any of those questions that you might have. Oh yes, I did add another leaf to this little girl. I did have to trim the leaves down a little bit just so it wasn't so tall. And that's going to do it. So there are still shots of every single video coming up. I just said that's going to do it, and I pulled out sequins. I do add sequins to every single one of these cards, just 3 little sequins to kind of pop and add a little bit more interest and sparkle, and why not? So close-ups of all of the cards are coming up in just a few moments, so stick around for that. And again, like I said, if you have questions on anything, feel free to ask. I'm always happy to answer questions, even though I might not get back to you the same day. I will get back to you, and I read all the comments, and I really do appreciate them. If you like this video, I would love for you to hit the like button down below. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, thank you for sticking with me and watching my channel and subscribing. Again, if you have questions or comments, leave those below, but you can also leave anything that you are interested in watching on my channel. I'm happy to try and put out videos of things that you guys are requesting. So if you have a request on something that you might want to see, go ahead and put that down below as well, because you know what, I might actually just film something on it and surprise you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for spending time with me today. And I will see you guys again really soon with another video. Bye-bye.